Greetings, my friends. It's your friendly neighborhood PhD, Dr. Judd Burton, bringing you another episode of the Beyond Report on this Tuesday, July the 6th, 2021. As always, if you like the content, please click a like, subscribe, and share. Those subscriptions help, the likes help, and the shares help. So do all of them. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do it. Pump those numbers up and get the message out to more and more people. Well, I hope that everybody had a good Independence Day. Had your fill of steak, burgers, hot dogs, whatever it is you burn on the grill. And that you also took some time to remember um, what exactly it took to forge this nation and the liberties that we continue to enjoy, jeopardized though they may be these days. And it's on that note that I've been a little reflective over the past couple of days since since July the 4th. Um, we are certainly a blessed nation, and other people looking in at us have observed this same thing almost since our inception. Many of you will be familiar with Alexis de Tocqueville, whose seminal work, American Democracy, um, sort of records his observations on American society during the 1830s, the early 1830s. And he makes several observations, which I'm paraphrasing here, about uh, that if America ceases to be godly, then it will cease to be good, because he was struck by how tied our national character was to the Christian faith. Um, and for much of our history, we have put God first and been blessed because of that. But that is less so the case now, and we seem to be reaping what we've sown as a society. Um, we've embraced the postmodern hermeneutic. There's no objective truth anymore for the most part in academia. Classical education and our primary education has been jettisoned, and we're certainly paying the price for that. If you're familiar with Common Core and other erroneous pedagogies. So we seem to be past the point of hamstringing ourselves as a society. And if Western civilization is in decline, and at least in jeopardy, then the same can certainly be said of American civilization. So we should be prayerful and thoughtful, but in addition to that, willing to act um, in a civil manner, in a peaceful manner, to bring about a real change. Because I'm of the opinion that we're actually on the precipice of a great awakening, much like we've seen in religious revivals in this country before. Time will tell, God willing, that will be the case. I recently reread Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto, the work by Marx and Friedrich Engels. I'd read it a number of times before, but again, I've been reflective about not only Independence Day, but also sort of the trajectory that certain political interests have taken in our nation, particularly the far left. Um, and it's you can't really hide it anymore. It's socialism. What they want is the communism that Marx and Engels outlined um, in the Communist Manifesto and commented in other works like Das Kapital. Um, if you've never read the Communist Manifesto, you should. It's a very quick read, but it outlines Marx and Engels' ideas about the ideal society. Their idea of a utopia, of course, would be a socialist utopia in which the state ran everything. The state was comprised of the working class that had overthrown the other two classes, and that's at the basis of of Marx's argument that history is comprised of class struggles within societies. While that may be true to a certain extent, in the achievement of his so-called socialist utopia, uh, Marx again and again does not factor in human greed and ambition, and that caveat that Lord Acton gave, that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And history is the testimony here. Every communist regime that's risen has been thoroughly corrupt. And so, even flirtation with any kind of socialism is a dangerous thing. And perhaps uh, the most disturbing thing to me about Marx's plan is the destruction of the family unit, the nuclear family, the eradication of religion, the uh, uh, basically the erosion of rural society and rural values, um, and I mean, he doesn't mince words. He just comes out and says all this stuff. And this is the kind of philosophy that the far left is embracing today. Many of the powers that be are clearly pushing us in this direction, and this is it's not only a vile philosophy, but it is an untenable philosophy. Um, it's so much for the working class. It would turn everybody under the auspices of the state, under the power of this state, um, into a serf class or a slave class, dare I say. Um, so, again, my recommendation is that you read it. It's a quick read if you want to get some real insight into what the far left is trying to do to our nation these days. And that brings me to another thing that I've been meditating on somewhat, and that is it's a buzzword. It's in the news quite a bit these days, and that's critical race theory. Now, just like all these other BS theories that the left embraces, um, critical race theory is an epiphenomenal of postmodernism, um, and this the embracing of the relativity of truth. Now, on the surface, critical race theory, which is something that actually was born out of the legal academy and began to affect other disciplines like the social sciences in particular. Um, but essentially, it propounds to be a logical critique of race and racism. Um, but again, it employs this open-ended hermeneutic. It's not really a critical analysis. It's based on an ideological front, and it certainly cannot be considered historical analysis. Now, I'm not saying that racism is not real. What I am saying is that critical race theory approaches to racism are dangerous to society. And what they do is they go far beyond the acknowledgement that racism has existed and continues to exist, but in essence, it assigns blame on the one hand and unforgiveness to certain races for their social sins, collective sins, misdeeds in the past. And so rather than something that functionally contributes to a kind of reconciliation, it does the exact opposite. It's a divisive tool, and we're seeing the repercussions of that right now. Um, So if you want to learn more about critical race theory, I encourage you to do that and to dig deep. Um, and for good counters to that, I would recommend people like Thomas Sowell, um, fantastic scholar. Um, it critical race theory really turns on its head what Dr. Martin Luther King said um, about not being judged by the color of your skin, but the content of your character. Um, so as long as it enforces a kind of officiated blame game, critical race theory is a dead on arrival approach to race, whether in the legal system or in the social sciences. All right, now if you want to learn more about the supernatural side of all of this, the actual entities that are behind this, you could take one of my certification programs through the Institute of Biblical Anthropology, and I'm extending the 4th of July sale. So all the certifications are $125 each. That's Biblical Anthropology, Biblical Demonology, um, and Preternatural Morphology. Those are going to hit hard on those subjects about those supernatural entities behind all this. And then the new certifications, Ancient Near Eastern Civilization, Mediterranean Civilization, and the new Mythology class, which will also have some insights on these entities. The Rudiments of New Testament Greek is on sale for $225 if you'd like to plunge into that and get a better handle on Koine Greek and by proxy Ancient Greek. Books are on sale for 10% off this week, and I'll put links in the description for that. Again, if you're interested in the certifications, email me at professorburton@yahoo.com, and we'll get you registered. Um, but again, in the wake of July the 4th, I hope that you're very um, that you're contemplating a lot of these things that I've talked about. And also, something that I meant to mention is that my good friend, and likely your good friend too, Derek Gilbert from Skywatch TV, sent me some metrics the other day and said that my presentation for the Rise conference that Skywatch did is a high-ranking one. And there are some fantastic, amazing presentations there, and you should take advantage of that. I think the streaming access is available through September the 18th, I believe. So still plenty of time to view all these really good presentations on some timely topics. Okay, so that's it for right now, and I'll see you next time, and Godspeed.